Welcome once again as we talk Georgia Tech women's basketball with head coach Michelle Joseph. November, the first of two editions of the program we'll have this month as we get into the new schedule with the season upon us. The season is upon us. Fans just got their chance to see the team in action in an exhibition game against the Peach State Elite, and I think there were a lot of things for the fans to like off of what they saw there on Sunday.
Yeah, I was pretty excited last night. I thought the first half was one of the best first halves we played at Georgia Tech, especially on the offensive end. You know, to shoot 63% in the first half was pretty exciting, you know, the first time out, because that's been one of my concerns going into the season is who's going to be our shooters, who's going to step up and knock down threes now that we lost Shelman Amaka and Jill Ingram, and was really excited to see Alex Montgomery have such a great start, and then Day Wolcott come off the bench and hit some threes for us, and Jacqua Williams, you know, again stepped up and knocked down 2 threes, so that was a good thing to see. But I was really impressed with, from one week to the next, the improvement in our presses, our full court presses. You know, we have so many different types of defenses that we play, and I really feel like our young players are learning the system at a fast clip, and they better, because the season's right around the corner. It's upon us. So, but I was really pleased to see the improvement from one week to the next.
You mentioned one week to the next. You're referring to a controlled scrimmage you had against Alabama and then the exhibition game. Things you've kind of discovered with this team as you've seen them against two outside opponents?
Well, one of the things I think I'm starting to recognize is that we have a lot more quality depth than we've had in the past. We have several players at the guard position who can come off and give us good minutes. Mo Bennett, again, Deja Foster, Day Wolcott, those kind of players that are coming in off the bench that haven't played very much. I've just been really pleased with their poise and composure and the way that they've learned, you know, going from being freshmen to being sophomores and being contributors and go-to players, and it's been good to see. And that's, you know, we just got to develop our post game a little bit more. But, you know, Sasha Goodlett as a freshman has really added a lot to our front court. There's no doubt that she's been dominating in practice, and to see her come out and go 5 for 5 in her first scrimmage, you know, with her uniform on was exciting for us. We really feel like she's a player that has tremendous potential. I feel as though she'll be the best post player to ever play at Georgia Tech when she graduates. But, you know, that's 4 years down the road. But to see her step in as a freshman and make the contribution she's making is exciting, and it gets us anxious to see where this team's going to go. And you know, it's only November, and I've said all along by January we'll be pretty good. And I think we have tremendous potential. It's just a matter of how we handle these early season tests.
Fans saw Sasha as a starter in the game against Peach State Elite, and they had to be impressed by the combination of her size and a soft touch that she has around the basket.
Yeah, Sasha has great hands and really good footwork, actually, for a freshman. But I think the thing that's most impressive is her foot speed. You know, she took somebody off the dribble last night, a guard off the dribble from the wing, and we've seen her do that in practice, you know, every single day. But to see her have that kind of confidence in a game to put the ball on the floor like she does, I think for somebody at 6'5", that's pretty exciting. And you know, again, Bridget Ardossi, I thought was huge. I thought she had a really good game. I thought she finished well. She went 6 for 8 from the field, and they weren't easy shots. I mean, they were up and under moves. They were, you know, spin moves, reverse layups. So I was really impressed with her effort. She played a lot of minutes, and defensively, she just gives us a lot of versatility.
We know, of course, from seeing Alex Montgomery as a freshman just how good she can be, but we got that quick reminder, hitting her first 8 shots, just doing so many things. She has a chance as a sophomore to really step up and become one of the premier players in the ACC.
Well, I've said all year long, you know, since her end of her freshman year, because of her work ethic, she came in here with a special skill set. You knew she was going to be a great player because she's just so talented and she's so versatile. She can play inside and outside, hit the three, take you off the dribble. But one of the things that you never can tell or measure is the size of someone's heart and what their work ethic and commitment will be. But Alex Montgomery is one of our hardest workers every single day. And so when somebody has that sort of skill set and they have that kind of work ethic, you know you have something special. And you know, I'm not surprised by her early season success. I think she'll just continue to get better and better. You know, as long as she stays healthy, I think the sky's the limit for her.
Friday night, the season opens, a men's and women's doubleheader at the Coliseum with your team taking on Troy. The start of 4 games in just under 9 days for your team. Your team has to get their feet on the ground and running in a hurry this season.
Well, I know my players are probably excited about the fact that they're going to be playing rather than practicing, but you know, we decided early on we were going to challenge this young group. Again, I think they have tremendous potential, and I think the more adverse situations we can put them in early, the faster they're going to grow and gain the needed experience that we're going to rely on in ACC play. So, the fact that we open up with Troy State, not to be overlooked, and turn right around in 48 hours and play the number one team in the country, Connecticut. I think that that's really a tremendous challenge for 10 freshmen and sophomores, but I don't think they'd have it any other way. The reason we told them when we recruited them to Georgia Tech that we were going to give them an opportunity to play with and against the very best, and here it is. They're here and they're getting those opportunities, and so we're excited about the matchups that we have over the next couple of weeks. The fact that Kennesaw State will come in here after we return from UConn, and they were picked second in the Atlantic 10, and the
Atlantic Sun Conference,
and the fact that they returned the reigning player of the year and the defensive player of the year, I think will be a tremendous challenge for us. And then again, a couple days later, we play Georgia State, intercity rival, and Georgia State returns virtually every player from a year ago. So the first couple games of this season are going to be a challenge, and I don't think our players would want it any other way. They want to play at a high level and compete at a high level every day, and that's what we're providing them, that opportunity.
The fans are understandably intrigued by the matchup against UConn going into Gampel Pavilion, where we know it's one of the unique atmospheres in women's basketball, sold out virtually every game. In a sense, I almost think you have to prepare your team not just for the basketball, but maybe just that atmosphere as well, because this is a big-time situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to be curious to find out how we respond. Last year we took those freshmen and we went into Maryland with 10,000 people, and Alex Montgomery had 26 points, and Asia Hemingway was huge in that game as well. So you just never know. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, and you just never know how they're gonna perform. But I think that the rest of this season we will not be challenged or playing that adverse of an environment that we're going to play on Sunday at UConn. And so I think that's really going to prepare these players, like, hey, we've already been there, done that. We played the number one team in the country on their home floor. Nothing can be as big a challenge as that. So I think it's exciting. I mean, you look at the Stanford team last year, went and played them on a neutral floor, got beat pretty handily, and then ended up playing for the national championship. So you just never know. And I think that until you put yourself in those kind of situations and your players have those types of experiences, you don't know how you would compete against the best teams in the country. And so we're going to do that early on in the season, and then when we get into ACC play, we've got to take on Duke, Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, all top 25 teams in the country. So it doesn't get any easier for us, and that's why it's important early on that we find out what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and what kind of performance we can expect out of each one of these young kids in that kind of environment.
I know when we spoke on the radio pregame show before the Peach State Elite game, you mentioned putting things in, getting this team geared for January, because considering the athleticism that you have, this could be a very good team as they kind of learn the ropes, the young players all finding out what it's all about against these tough opponents.
There's no doubt. I think that the fact that from one week to the next that they continue to improve, that's exciting for me. But now with less practice time and more game time, it's going to be really important, how we adjust and how we adapt. But we've kept things simple this year, and we've really just tried to play to the strengths of our players. And one of the things that we do is, we're tenacious defensively. I mean, we're going to change presses on you. We're going to trap you. We're not where we need to be by any stretch of the imagination right now, which is a good thing. I felt at times last year we might have peaked too early. This year, I don't think we're in danger of that. I think that it's a journey, and that's what I told this team before the game yesterday, is the fact that you're going to write your own chapter in this book. It's a new team, a new personality, and depending on how we handle each one of these situations over the next three months is going to determine what your chapter, what your story is going to look like. And I think that they really have responded to that. They understand that this is a different team, a different time, and there's no limitations on us. We don't know what we're capable of yet, and we probably won't know that till 2 months down the road, because there is tremendous individual talent. There's tremendous potential to have a great team, because they're very unselfish. They don't care who gets the points. They don't care who gets the rebounds. They don't care who gets the steals. They just want to win, and they want to compete, and that's a special team. And I really believe that by January, I've said this for a year now, since I think by January, this is going to be a very good basketball team.
We'll remind fans of the schedule coming up. The home opener against Troy on Friday night. The team goes to UConn. The game can be seen on Comcast Digital Cable Channel 499 here in the Atlanta area. Then back home for a couple more games. And of course, you can hear all of those ball games on WREK Radio, 91.1 FM in Atlanta, and at WREK.org on the internet. Thanks again for joining us on this latest edition of Georgia Tech Women's Basketball with head coach Michelle Joseph. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks. Thank you for joining us here at RambleandWreck.com.
Thank you.